Okay, please be seated. Okay, Tarun.
Yes.
So full name is Tarun
Suthar.
Suthar. The pronunciation is like Suthar. We were discussing about that. It is Suthar or Suthar.
Suthar.
Okay. So Tarun, you are from Rajasthan,
Yes, sir.
Hanumangarh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please. For what Hanumangarh is famous for?
So it is famous as a Bhatner fort. It has a Bhatner fort in it.
Okay.
So earlier its name was Bhatner. So now it is called Hanumangarh.
Now it is called Hanumangarh.
It is also famous for Shila Mata Mandir is there, and it's also famous for the cultural assimilation between Hindus and Muslims, especially the Gogaji temple is there. So there Hindus and Muslims both go together and worship that particular god.
Okay. So Tarun, please introduce yourself.
So I primarily belong to a rural family with agriculture background. I have done my schooling from nearby hometown. I have pursued graduation BSc Honours in Physics from Delhi University. And this is my first interview in Haryana Civil Services. And I have given this attempt with geography as an optional. And this is, I hope to join civil services.
Okay. So this you have already written in your this draft, whatever you have explained about yourself. Do you have any hobby?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
Meditation.
Meditation.
Yes, sir.
Why meditation?
So meditation has slowly evolved in my life. As I was socialized with meditation from my parents, and I took it as a hobby from early part of my life. And recently I have been practicing it a lot from last 3 to 4 years.
Okay. So you are from a rural background, and the main occupation of your parents or father, it is agriculture.
Yes, sir.
So that means you are well aware about the agriculture practices.
Yes, sir. I'm
A bit aware
yeah.
because your optional is also geography. So
Yes.
that means something related with the. If I want to ask
Yes,
something from agriculture which is related with your geography, I think you will be better able to answer that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Tarun, why the very first green revolution experiment which was conducted in India, it was only restricted to few states, few northwestern states of India or northern states of India? What was the main reason behind that?
So during that time our resources were very limited, and we were just got independence, and we had limited resources. So we adopted imbalanced strategy to use the optimum utilization of resources. We focused on certain areas, and our only prior goal was to achieve the food security by whatever means we could achieve. So in Punjab and Haryana region, this North Green Revolution went. Here the 3-4 reasons were there which helped in Green Revolution here. The first was the larger plot size here of the land, and on eastern side the plot size is very smaller, and western side the plot size is bigger, so it helped. And secondly, here the irrigation channels and canals were already built from British era, so that helped. And thirdly, here the farmers were a little bit richer than other parts of areas, and since Green Revolution was a technology based method, so it required the investment of the farmers. So farmers used the investment and adopted these new input intensive methods.
Okay. Now your graduation is in physics.
Yes, sir.
So please tell me something related with your launch vehicles, PSLV or any GSLV. What is the difference between PSLV and GSLV?
So they are launch courses of India, and PSLV is primarily linked to the polar satellites. When we try to launch the satellites which are usually in the polar regions, we use PSLV, and GSLV usually used for geosynchronous satellite launching. So and the capacity of PSLV is smaller and the capacity of GSLV is higher, and it can launch heavier payloads as well and to far areas. And PSLV is usually around 1,000 km from the Earth's surface, and GSLV is away from 35,000. It's around 35,000 from the Earth's surface. So this is the major difference, and there's also difference between their composition. And PSLV is based on four solid and liquid alternate chambers are there. One is solid, then liquid, and then again solid and liquid. But GSLV is based on three fuel chambers. The first is solid chamber, then second liquid chamber, and third is the cryogenic chamber which I have built. So this is the difference.
What is cryogenic technology?
So cryogenic is the technology which uses the fuel which are stored at a very low temperature. They are almost in sub-zero conditions, and they are used for burning fuel, and they derive the GSLV. And cryogenic is below the zero side temperature.
Then why we use the cryogenic technology when we already have developed other technologies? What is the benefit of cryogenic on other technologies?
So cryogenic engine has impulse which is very higher. With use of less fuel, it gives higher impulse to the satellites and rockets. So it has very high fuel efficiency. So with less use of fuel, it can give a higher thrust. So it is fuel efficient in that way. So that's why it's good.
Okay, so now the question, something which is related with your concept of physics. Now let's suppose I want to launch this PSLV or GSLV, any satellite. So at present we are launching these vehicles, these satellites from Sriharikota and all. So if I want to launch the satellite from, let's suppose, Ladakh region, Leh Ladakh region, already it is at higher altitude, so the distance required to travel would be lesser to reach the polar region and all. Then why we are not choosing the portion Leh and Ladakh? Why we are launching these vehicles from these type of sites, Sriharikota and all?
So there are many factors that have led to the launching from Sriharikota. For example, it is nearer to the equator, and nearer to the equator have higher velocity, it has higher angular velocity as well as linear velocity. Whenever any particle leaves the Earth's surface from equator, it has higher inertia from equator side. But Ladakh is away from the equator, so it will have less velocity. In that sense, we will require less fuel.
Why velocity is something related with the position?
So equator side have higher velocity. So when we will be leaving the equator area, so that vehicle will have higher inertia. So
Why? My question is why?
Because equator has higher velocity. It covers.
You are saying equator has higher velocity.
Yes.
From where this velocity is coming?
Sir, let me give you an illustration.
Yes, because so what I understand, velocity is something related with your distance and speed, time.
Yes, I will explain.
Yes.
So this is Earth. If we suppose this is any point on the equator.
Yes.
So in 24 hours, this rotates this much area. But at the same time, let's say this is Ladakh. Here the curvature of the Earth is very smaller. So in same 24 hours, it will cover less distance. But if here
less distance or higher, more distance, it will
less distance because the curvature is smaller. Earth is like this shape, na? So equator here the curvature is higher.
Yes.
So if we draw any tangent from here, it will have higher velocity, and this point will have less velocity. So this is the one reason we want higher velocity from here. That's why it launched. And secondly, the Sriharikota is also on the eastern side of India, and rockets are usually launched towards the eastern side. So if we launch from Ladakh, then if by chance the rocket fails, then it can fall on the mainland area and people can get hurt. And if it is launched from Sriharikota, by chance if it's failed, then it will fall in the Bay of Bengal, and that is a prevention measure. And thirdly, so the climate area of the Sriharikota is very calm, and it has it is relatively calmer area than the Ladakh region. Ladakh region has mountains, hilly area that is not suitable for launching satellites. And Sriharikota is on the island, so it is relatively stable, and in that sense it gives clean environment for launching the satellites.
Island is relatively stable as compared to the region of Ladakh, which is a plateau type thing.
Yes, sir. That region has highly hilly areas. So there we also have magnetic anomalies also, because Himalayas are there. There are lots of ferromagnetic rocks are there, so that can disrupt the telemetry of the satellites. But this region is relatively better in that sense. So these are three.
Can't we launch this vehicle from the region of Kutch? Again, a barren land is there.
We
No
could
damage
have-
to the public will
we
be
could
there.
have
And
launched-
again, we have the sea.
So when we have 3-4 options, we always look for the best one. So when we have Sriharikota, then why should we choose Kutch? Even if we want to choose Kutch, then the failure chance of the rocket would have landed on the mainland India. So that is also the priority, to keep it away from the mainland India.
Is there any role of Coriolis forces behind the selection of a particular region as a launch site?
Yes, sir. Coriolis force is also the reason behind it.
It is also, or it is one of the major reason.
It is one of the major reasons, sir.
It is one of the major
Yes,
reasons.
sir.
Then why it was missing from your answer?
I just gave 3 points which I thought, which came to my mind. So Coriolis force is also
Because you
one of
are
the major reasons.
from geography optional background,
Yes, sir.
so this should have been the very first point. Okay, but again, good. Over to you, sir, please.
Okay, you have been playing hockey at state level.
Yes, sir.
Who is captain of Indian hockey team?
So it just skipped out of my mind.
Okay, no problem. Okay, hockey is our national game, but cricket is seen as a religion in India. So, what is the reason that hockey has not been able to become that popular as compared to cricket?
So with respect to the national game, I would say hockey has not yet been declared as a national game in India.
Okay.
And with respect to the popularity of cricket, I would say there are reasons. For example, we have a lot of role models in cricket which have led to the popularity of the cricket. And secondly, the cricket is relatively easier to play, and the equipments with which we play cricket are cheaper, and that's one of the main criteria. For example, in the rural areas, we can just take one stick and one ball, and that can easily do. But for hockey, we usually require higher equipments like hockey and ball, and that too we require flat area on which we can play hockey. But in cricket, we can play it anywhere. And thirdly,
No, I will like to disagree. How can you say that cricket is easy than hockey? There are very much like, if you see from a bowler's perspective or even from batsman, there are lots of technicalities involved, and moreover we can't like compare the two games, which one is easy or which one is difficult.
I didn't say it's easy. I said it's just cheaper to take the equipments of the cricket and use it to play. And relatively hockey
If we play with the leather ball, I think you need to wear all the equipments, and also the pitch or the wicket where the cricket is being played. We
Yes.
need to have a proper setup. So in that regard,
But in rural areas, we usually play gully cricket and do not use those balls which we have. We usually make ball from the home. Leather balls are not used. We make it from the cloth, or we may use ball from plastics. So that inculcates the hobby of playing cricket from earlier life. So even when our socialization is also in such a way, then if any boy or girl want to play a game, so we usually take ball and a bat to give to him. So that habit also gets inculcated in that way.
okay, what can be done to popularize hockey more? What steps? Like if you are the sports minister, you have to frame a policy to popularize hockey. So what steps will you recommend in that regard?
So the major thing which had led to the decline in hockey was the playground. So first priority would be the playground. Earlier our hockey team was very one of the important in the world, but it declined because of the pitching of the hockey changed from grass to the astroturf. It was artificial thing. So we need to make those playgrounds so that we could give those equipments. And secondly, sir, hockey is usually not played in the schools. So I would like to promote hockey in the school areas also. And thirdly, sir, hockey requires equipments because the hockey ball is usually very heavier, and it can get easily it can easily hurt the players. So those equipments, if they are provided at community places, for example, there is one village in Hanumangarh that is called Sonadi. The entire village plays the hockey during the evening time. So because they have inculcated the culture that entire hockey is there, and they usually play that. There is no single one plays cricket there. So if we can inculcate that hobby, then that can also help.
Okay, tell me one thing. What role of the administration at higher level do you think plays in promoting a game? Because if we compare the way BCCI works for promotion of the game and the way the Hockey Federation of India, the way that body works, don't you think that it plays a very pivotal role in promoting the game?
Yes, sir. Administration always plays a good role, and even all the policies related to the sports and the way the sports are conducted.
Don't you think to like reforming the Hockey Federation of India or the sports authority that looks after the hockey should be one of the important steps in improving the situation of the game?
Yes, sir. That should be also be one of the major priority.
Okay, Tarun, you graduated in physics,
Yes.
but you did not opt for the field, your career in the subject in which you graduated.
Yes.
So what was the reason for switching to civil services, because it is more or less a generalistic kind of job?
Sir, while I was in 12th, I was searching for a career which I should look for, but I was not sure of what should I choose. So that time physics was what attracted me most. So I took physics so that to discover whether I want to pursue it further or not. So I chose physics. But in the meantime, while I was in graduation, I consciously thought what should be my priority, and that time I consciously decided that I should choose civil services. So this was the main priority.
If after entering civil services 3-4 years you think that you have some other inclination, so will you leave this as your career or will you pursue it?
So firstly, I don't think I will find any way, because I have consciously thought about it now for last almost 3 to 4 years, and it has inculcated hobby, and also I have invested a lot of time in this. So I think I will be dedicated to this one only, and even if I find something more holistic and something more well in the welfare of the society, then I will not hesitate, because even that will be for the betterment of the society only.
Okay, good. Okay, you have a hobby of meditation. So how meditation have benefited you in your daily life?
So meditation has benefited mostly in the form of psychological way. It helps to calm my nerves whenever I get tensed or some situation is there which is making me intense. So I just meditate and calms my nerves. And secondly, it helps to see the world objectively. It helps to differentiate what are the societal perspectives and what are my perspectives. It gives a very objective image to differentiate between both and take what is the objective decision. And thirdly, it helps in the realization of spiritual growth and inner well-being, so avoiding the mental health issues as well. So it increases the quality of life in that way. So that is the main purpose.
Okay, Tarun, you come from an agricultural background.
Yes, sir.
What are the major issues that our country is facing, or in field of agriculture? Why we are not able to perform very well? Tell me 3 to 4 most prioritize 3-4 major reasons.
Firstly, I would say green revolution had skewed the cropping pattern in a country. For example, if we see Haryana, even the 60% of the gross cropped area is wheat and rice only. So that is the major issue. I would like to diversify the cropping pattern. And secondly, the environmental issues like using excess fertilizers. Like in Haryana, it's 20 to 4 to 1. NPK ratio is very skewed. It has led to the soil erosion and declining fertility. And thirdly, the technological revolution which India is known for had bypassed the agriculture. So that is also the issue. And fourthly,
Okay, fine. One last question. Everyone talks of crop diversification. What are the reasons that why farmers are not diversifying? Because they themselves are also aware that it is deteriorating the environment, the health is being deteriorated. What is the reason that why they are not diversifying?
so farmers usually cultivate crops as an economic activity. If they do not see the economic benefits arising from it, so then they will not diversify. With respect to the rice and wheat, we are giving MSP to them, so they have they can easily sow them and sell to the government on MSP prices. But this security is usually missing in other crops. For example, vegetable, then fruits. This security is not there. And also the production with respect to the new GM crops and rice and wheat is higher. But on the other side, the production, for example, with respect to flowers and other is usually lower. So in that sense, they have a tendency that the production will be lower and the price realization will also be lower. So that is the also issue. And other than there is a
Fine. Okay, over to sir if you want to ask.
Sir already, है ना? But one question I would like to ask Tarun, as sir said that, and you discussed that MSP, we are providing MSP on wheat and rice, so the farmers are growing these crops. But India is providing MSP on 23 crops, which includes your sugarcane also. So 23 crops are being included under your MSP system, but we are mainly growing, majority of the farmers under MSP system, they are mainly growing wheat and rice. Then why they are not choosing other MSP backed crops? If they are choosing those other MSP backed crop like bajra is there, है ना? So it will make, है ना, it will make our agriculture more diversified. Then what is the reason why they are not choosing for other crops?
So with respect to MSP, we have two divisions inside the MSP. Then one is with respect to the wheat and rice, we usually announce the MSPs and we also procure them. The procurement is open-ended. We can procure them as much as they want to sell, so, and we will buy. And with respect to the rice and wheat, there is also the buffer stocks in PDS system, which uses that stock which is procured by the farmers, procured by the government. But on the other side, the other crops, firstly they are not procured by the government, and secondly they are not used by the PDS system. So in that sense, they are less motivated to plant those crops. So that skews towards the wheat and rice.
Good enough. ठीक है. So ठीक. So Tarun, okay, we are over with the question answer session. Now a quick review that you are good with your basic understanding, basic knowledge about your subject, about your if we say that you are from physics background, so whatever technical questions we have asked, so you were able to answer those questions. Major thing which I found, it is you need to prioritize your answers, your points, that which point you are going to give on the very first and which point you will be putting at the last, the major thing. Otherwise your knowledge about the subjects, your body gestures, these are good for the interview, from interview perspective, from my side. Please.
One thing that I like to add is your eye contact, time and again it goes downwards. So try to just have an eye contact with the panel. there I think there's a natural tendency in you, just work on that thing. Second is on, because you have mentioned hockey and you have played at state level, so you should be knowing about the technical details, at least Indian captain you should be knowing, because you yourself are defying that hockey is not that popular. If I would have asked cricket captain, you must be knowing about that thing. And also, what are the reasons why hockey is not popular? Just go and write down what are the basic reasons, like this administration part, because it stays in news, and other like BCCI manages everything very well. That is one of the
biggest issue behind the situation of hockey, present situation, it is the management part,
Yes.
not the players.
Yes, and that kind of thing. Otherwise, I think for physics, as sir has mentioned, you were absolutely fine. On agriculture also, you were knowing all the issues.
Yes.
Meditation also, I think it was fine.
So overall, if we would like to, out of 100,
Sir, I think it was above average interview. Now
yes, we can say.
Yes.
So out of 100,
you were a decent
yes,
candidate.
yes.
You were very young, and you have done your graduation from Kirodimal College, Delhi University.
Yes.
These
One
things
of the-
have a very positive impact on the panel. So
Keep it up and just work on the suggestions we have given to you. And
prioritization thing.
yes,
and
prioritization.
just cram some of the government schemes that Haryana government is giving,
Yes,
and all try to like mention them in your answers.
specifically like
Like
you have
they-
played hockey.
Yes.
So whatever schemes related with the sports which have been started by government, because in Haryana, sports, who is the sports minister of Haryana?
Manor Lal Khattari, sir.
Before that,
Now
Before that,
Asian Games are going on, Cricket World Cup is going on. So just go through all those
now
things.
like last था ना, जैसे तो वैसे अभी खत्म तो हो ही गया.
हाँ.
हरियाणा में there is a person who is a minister in Haryana government, and he is related with Indian hockey.
Sandeep Singh.
Sandeep
How you can forget that?
Likkar Singh is.
The thing is that you are appearing for Haryana.
He is minister of.
Yes,
He was currently he's not sports minister, but he is one of the cabinet ministers.
He was sports minister
He was
earlier.
earlier.
He was sports minister earlier.
Okay, thank you for.
So
this
that is
information.
because he was the captain of Indian hockey team.
I have read this. He is
the thing is-
minister, but I don't know whether this was the same which was.
yes,
Same.
he is-
यार
yes.
स्पोर्ट्स पे देखो आपके उसमें है, तो उसको अच्छी तरह से प्रिपेयर कर लो. एशियन गेम्स की टैली वगैरह देख लो, क्योंकि वो बहुत फैक्चुअल पूछ लेते हैं आपसे कि इंडिया के कितने मेडल हैं, तो सुबह उस दिन
हाँ,
देख के जाना.
that is.
क्रिकेट भी चल रहा है और हॉकी भी चल रहा है, सारा चीज़ें काफ़ी हद तक आपकी इसी के आसपास रहेगी इंटरव्यू.
और इंटरव्यू आपके ऊपर रहेगा.
हाँ.
हाउ यू आर, है ना, मतलब उनको लेके जा रहे हैं. इफ़ यू आर वेल अवेयर अबाउट हॉकी एंड ऑल, जो और आपके जो भी है ना स्पोर्ट्स, तो आप उसके ऊपर भी पूरा कर सकते हो, घुमा सकते हो. इट टोटली डिपेंड्स अपॉन यू. अगर आप यहाँ पे आंसर कर पाए तो इसके आसपास घूमेगा. अगर यहाँ पे कहीं डाउट निकला तो फिर इंटरव्यू जो है किसी और चीज़ को पकड़ेगा.
और आपने किसी भी दूसरी गेम को वो नहीं दिखाना कि ये आसान है या डिग्रेड है.
हाँ,
वो
तो
फिर
biggest
लगता है कि
सबसे बड़ा
आप किसी भी चीज़ में वो एक टेंडेंसी होती है ह्यूमन की, ये तो आसान है, ये तो वो है. एक तो आप इमोशनली फिर वो लगते हो कि आप रैशनल नहीं हो. इन छोटी छोटी चीज़ों का ध्यान रखना है आपने.
ठीक है. चलो ठीक है सर, ठीक है तरुण. ओके, थैंक यू.
Thank you, sir.
थैंक्स अ लॉट.
ओके, और ऑल द
बेस्ट ऑफ लक.
Thank you, sir.